Engrossed in a landmark verdict, a Queensland jury has tonight convicted a surgeon of killing his patients. 60-year-old overseas-trained Dr Jayant Patel was convicted of the manslaughter of 3 patients and the grievous bodily harm of another. The offences were committed when Patel was the chief of surgery at the Bundaberg Base Hospital. Tonight's conviction is yet another step in a long-running saga that has exposed deep faults in Queensland's health system. We cross live now to John Taylor, who's at the Supreme Court in Brisbane. John, this has been a long time coming and a long time for the jury to decide the verdict. What was at the heart of the prosecution case?
Kerry, this was a 14-week trial. The jury deliberated for 7 days. Now, at the heart of this is Dr Jayant Patel. He's a 60-year-old overseas-trained doctor who in 2003 came from the United States to be the chief of surgery at the Bundaberg Hospital. He was there for 2 years, and what the court has now found is that those 2 years were marked by a series of complaints that began almost from the time that he started operating and ultimately saw the deaths of 3 people and the grievous bodily harm of another.
Now, he was described at one point in evidence as a surgeon with a toxic ego. What kind of personality emerged? What sense has come from this of the kind of man behind these crimes?
The prosecution presented a picture of a man that was driven, if you like, to redeem his past failings. What Dr Patel failed to reveal to authorities in Australia when he was past accreditation and registered and allowed to practice in Australia was that he had been the subject of negligence claims in America. And in part, authorities in Oregon had instructed that he was to get second opinions on particular serious surgeries that he was to do there. Now, he came to Australia by a series of negligent mistakes. He was then able to be registered, and it was those same surgeries that he then did in Australia. And those are the ones, esophagectomies, which are considered more difficult than a heart-lung transplant, and major abdominal surgery. Now, the 3 manslaughter convictions tonight and the grievous bodily harm all involved esophagectomies and manslaughter convictions. Dr Patel was painted as a man that was a prodigious worker that would be there early in the morning till late at night, smashing through the surgery. But his skills were considered substandard, that the level of care was unacceptable that he was providing.
What sort of sentence does he now face?
He faces life in jail. I mean, he's gone from high calling, a surgeon, to a convicted criminal. This is unprecedented in Queensland. It's unknown if there's ever been a doctor convicted of criminal medical negligence in this state. I mean, he faces going to jail for the rest of his life. When the verdict was read out tonight, he was very stoic. He bowed his head, but he said nothing. He was remanded in custody until sentencing on Thursday morning, but he didn't look back at his wife as he was led away.
And as I understand it, because of the landmark nature of this case, the unprecedented nature of this case, that this will automatically go to appeal, to the Queensland Appeal Court?
Very much so, because no one ever envisaged that this area of the criminal code would be used in such a circumstance. And so it is destined to go to the Court of Appeal because this is a first. This is a landmark case. Now,
I know that Dr Patel actually faces further charges, but even for the victims and the survivors, the family survivors of these cases, this must have brought great relief, I would have thought.
It has. There was one of the men that was killed by Dr Patel was Jerry Kemp, a 77-year-old who was seriously ill. Now, he was operated on by Dr Patel and he had numerous complaints. The prosecution said he should never have been operated on, especially not in Bundaberg, but he was too sick in the first place. It happened, but there was extensive internal bleeding. Now, they then had to go back in for surgery. They were pulling blood out of him with kidney pans. They were just scooping the blood out of his chest cavity. They couldn't find the source of the leak. He was then sewn up, basically nursed to death. Now, his wife, Judy Kemp, his widow, has been in court and she heard the verdict tonight and she had these comments to make a short time ago.
It's all over. I'm so happy it's all over. That's all I can say.
Did you ever think this would happen?
No, at one stage I thought it wouldn't. It's been a long 5 years, but it's all over.
It took 2 years and a whistleblower for Jayant Patel to be exposed. Now, a great deal has flowed from that since, has it not?
It has. I mean, there have been 2 commissions of inquiry, an overall health system review. There's also been a lengthy extradition process. I mean, what they've found is that Dr Patel, in a sense, was rewarded for being such a prodigious worker. The hospital would get more money because he was doing more surgeries, regardless of the fact that people were dying. And so it prompted a systemic look at the operation of the health system in Queensland. The Queensland government has said these things can't happen again. Negligent registration, those mistakes that saw Dr Patel even allowed to come here and work in the first place have been fixed.
Well, a saga that's not quite over yet, but certainly moving towards it. John Taylor, thanks very much for talking with us.
Thank you, Kerry.